Let's touch base now with MP Gerry Byrne. Mr. Byrne, you're on the air.
Good morning, Bill. Fantastic show.
Thank you, Pete, last night. But you were eager to get on, so you joined part of the lineup. You've been waiting now for a couple of hours, but
I have.
I know you're such a great defender of the democratic process that I thought it was important that people hear what your point of view might be. Go right ahead.
Bill, I've been listening to the show since 7:30 my time, just because it is so. This is essential. This is not something which is just sort of a theoretical exercise. This is democracy, basic democracy in action. And I say this, and I say it very deliberately. The Speaker of the House of Assembly should be asked to resign by the House of Assembly for his actions yesterday.
Right. Well, now you're talking about an action. Sorry, Gerry, you're talking about an action the Speaker took against somebody who's not even a member of your party. To my mind, that states loud and clear that it's the process you're talking about and not a partisan point of view.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, Jerry Rogers and I don't even know each other. I don't even know if we've met each other. But I do know this. If it can happen to Jerry Rogers as an NDP member, it can happen to a Liberal member, it could happen to Tom Osborne as an independent member, and God forsake it, it could also happen to a pre-C member who decides to walk away or walk outside of the conventional wisdom of the party for a change.
And what do you take exception to in the Speaker's ruling?
The Speaker had no right, no legal authority under the Westminster rules that he is sworn to protect and uphold to actually call a censor to actually find the member in contempt. This stems back, Bill, to the very beginning when Minister Darren King, the Justice Minister, actually stood on a point of order to actually indicate that he believed there was a potential breach of the rules of the House, the rules of decorum. He failed when Minister King stood up. He had a responsibility when raising his point of order to also indicate to the Speaker that should the Speaker, on reflection of his point of order, find that there is a prima facie case of contempt, that he, as a private member, would be prepared to move a motion of censure, a motion of contempt against Ms. Rogers. He did not do so. These are the rules of the House. The Justice Minister of all people should know that. The Speaker of the House.
Well, I was wondering if the rules had evolved somewhat from the time that I was there and studying the operations of various parliamentary democracies. But the first thing that occurred to me when the Speaker made the ruling was that he's totally out to lunch. And the thing that I found appalling was that under the rules of parliamentary procedure, as under the rules of a court of law, other side. You can't make a ruling based on a one-sided presentation by one party or one individual in the House. You have to hear the arguments from the other side, and from what I can gather, there was none of that. I mean, it was. Talk about a kangaroo court. It was absolutely ridiculous.
I hold the same observation as you, but we'll take it one step further. Go ahead. The Speaker actually determined that there was no evidence against Ms. Rogers. Right. There was no evidence of a contempt, but regardless of whether or not there's evidence, he found her in contempt, which he is not entitled to do, and then decided to actually censor her. Well, on that point, removing her from the House.
On that point, as I understand it, I wasn't there. The House leader for the government side got up and raised a point of privilege in which he was trying to convince the Speaker that the privileges of the House had been violated. The Speaker said the privileges of the House were not violated on a prima facie case. He accepted the word of the member, as he's duty-bound to do when a statement of fact or concerning the member's activities is made. And then, out of the blue, he found her in contempt of the House and booted her out of the House and wouldn't even allow, what he's also duty-bound to do, the member to make an explanation for her conduct. So the whole thing was a miserable mishmash.
Bill, these rules, just so that we're all clear, listeners, myself, yourself, everyone is clear. The rules of the Provincial House of Assembly of Newfoundland and Labrador are 500 years old. They are not devised since 1949. They are based on the Westminsterian style of parliamentary democracy. They are rooted in huge tradition, and they are well-known and well-founded.
Yeah.
These rules are not followed exclusively by the Provincial House of Assembly, nor are they followed exclusively by the House of Commons. They are followed by every member, every legislature in the Commonwealth group of countries.
Yeah.
So to make this kind of an error, let's just get back to brass tacks here.
Okay.
First off, the Speaker is only entitled to find whether or not there's evidence, a prima facie case of a breach of contempt.
Yeah.
And if he so finds there's a breach, that there is a prima facie case of a breach, he cannot pronounce that there is contempt. The only thing he can do is he can ask the House to decide the matter. So in other words, Kathy Dunderdale, instead of actually standing up on a principle and actually saying, I stand by this accusation, or Darren King saying, I stand by this accusation, they threw it all on the shoulders of the Speaker, and he was duped enough, he was, stupid enough to actually fall for it. Quite frankly, the entire province should be outraged at what happened here yesterday.
All right. Well, listen, thanks very much, Gerry. We're going to say goodbye now, but I did want to touch base to you. I didn't hear you last night, but I understood that you were making some comments based on your extensive parliamentary experience, and I simply wanted to hear them again. Thanks, Gerry. Join us again on other issues when the Spirit moves you.
I will, but let me just quickly say the most important role of the Speaker, above and beyond all else, is to defend the right of free speech in the House of Assembly. That is the most important function of the Speaker. That yesterday was tragically and seriously, erroneously taken away from a member. Yeah. And when it's taken away from one member, it's taken away from us all.
Thanks very much, Gerry. Nice talking to you.
Hello.
Bye-bye. Gerry Byrne, MP, Humber St. Barb Bay Vert, calling upon the Speaker to resign. It's such an appalling thing he did yesterday, and if he doesn't resign, have him removed.